Hi, so this lesson might be an example for some of the better or more advanced players. Shane, who's in the picture here, is a good ball striker, ex-cricketer, but lacks a little bit of stability and consistency when he plays. And you'll see that on his backswing, when he gets to the top of the swing, he's got a little bit of a reverse pivot. In other words, he's still moving forward as the club goes backwards, so his head moves forward. You see he gets a little bit of awkward position with his knees, club very high. If we look from down the line, you'll see that at the top of his swing, the club shaft points away to the right, and he's got this flying elbow. Okay, now he's a good enough player to bring the club back most of the time to a good position, where he can come from the right direction and release it, but often he hits it straight left and lacks consistency. So what we looked at with Shane was then to see if we could try and make a difference by changing the sequence that he makes his backswing in. So the picture on the left, if we slow that down, the first thing that moves when Shane was doing this was his club head. So his club head moves, then his shoulders, and then his hips. So that little sequence, club head, shoulders, hips. So what we did was try to change that sequence in a drill. So here we made quite a fundamental change where the first thing to move was almost his hands and his hips, then his shoulders, and then finally his club head. So we changed the first thing from moving, what used to be his club head, we changed that to the last thing that moved. Now it's quite dramatic when you look from the other direction to see what impact that had on his backswing. So if we look at where he was to begin with, where the club head moved first, and everything followed suit until he got that high elbow in crossing the line position at the top, to this exercise where when we changed those sequence, we got quite a big difference in his condition at the top of his backswing. So here we went grip, hips, and then say the club head was the last thing to move. And you can see here we've got a fundamental change with where he is with that elbow, and the club face and the club shaft no longer laid off. So this is an exercise primarily for advanced players who struggle with getting into a stable position at the top of the backswing. It's not something that I'd advise you to take onto the golf course tomorrow, but for Shane, it definitely helped him get into a position where he could hit with more consistency. If you need help with your game, please give me a shout.